Okay, here I've got Gemini to create a version of Settlers of Catan for me on the computer using HTML and CSS, and it's actually using React. That's why it's called Settlers of React. We can look at the code here, and as you can see, there's quite a fair bit of code in many files to create all these different parts of it, and creating the hex tiles. And it was not a single prompt thing to be able to do this. It took me quite a lot of backwards and forwards. See, this app part of it in TypeScript has actually 490 lines of code. So you're probably looking total well over 1,000 lines of code if through everything, maybe close to 2,000, 1,500 to 2,000, I would estimate, over everything. But yeah, it was not at one shot. I had to do many prompts to get it backwards and forwards, to get things to work correctly. First, the tiles were not working. They were misorientated. It didn't have the ports correctly. It had weird images. I asked it to do cool images, but now it's just kind of giving me these graphics. This is the sheep that looks like a cloud. Obviously, the stone, brick, that square is not really brick. Wheat and trees are obvious. And having the actual players and interactions, and having the AIs actually interact and do something on their turn. And so that is what I've just asked it to do in the last prompt here. The AI players are not placing down roads or building settlements once the game starts. So now I want to see if it is and has created an actual game that we can play instead of you just playing by yourself, essentially. So first, in any game, you have to place a settlement. And so we can pick somewhere on the map. Let's say we pick here. I want to pick somewhere near a port, actually, so it allows me to test the ports very easily. So we'll pick here, and then we'll pick a road. I want that all to be covered on the port, so I can make sure I use that port. The difficulty is I need to then get onto some sheep. So for my next one, I will pick a sheep settlement, probably here, and build a road, maybe this way. See what happens, right? And now when we roll the dice, it does a little roll animation, and now I can move the robber. And that didn't work before, so that was one of the things here that I was asking into it. So it has seemed to have corrected that. So we can move this robber to, let's say we put it on somebody with potentially a sheep. Oh yeah, see, it doesn't actually give us, when you start the game, you're supposed to get your resources that you have put your house on, the first house you put down. It has not given us that, so that's a downside to this, or it's something that would need to be pre-programmed in. So if we put this robber here on here, and nothing to steal because nobody's got any cards, but we'll end the turn. And then we have the dice rolls. And so there I got 1 wheat in that round. Nobody has any resources yet, so nothing has much happened. We'll try again until we get something. 10, so nothing. I don't think this is a particularly exciting map. Oh, the robber has been moved around though, and so that's kind of interesting. And Alfred stole a card from humans, so they did take a card from me, and you can see they've got some resources now in here. Obviously we cannot see what they have, but we went down a resource then. And so now we've gained a sheep, which is great. Hopefully we get another sheep so we can test that port. And the 4-to-1 trade. Oh yeah, so you can do a bank trade. At the moment I've got nothing to trade, but hopefully eventually. So we end the turn, and we have this log of what's happening. So it goes around pretty quick for all the other rolls, and nobody's still building anything on here. They've got 5 resources, but they don't have any way of building anything. That's starting to feel suspicious that they're not actually going to build. And an 8, so I should have 2 sheep. Now, can I trade that sheep? Excellent. So I can trade that for let's trade it for a wheat. And there we gained a wheat. So the trading is working now, and that's fantastic. If we end the go, we'll keep on playing and see if we could just get a bit more movement. I want to see the AIs build an actual road at least somewhere, and then we know the game is probably working. So if we roll a dice here, maybe we can get a, should have got a brick or a wood end turn. See, look at this. This bot has 10 resources and the yellow one, and he has not built a single thing. The only thing that is working is this robber that does go around and steal, so we're getting better, but move the robber, for example. So now if we put it onto here, and then I can steal, and I stole something. I stole a card. Excellent. So end turn. And then I lost my card there. So the stealing is working well, but yeah, they do not seem to actually build anything. So the main game mechanics is working, or the ports are trading and everything, but the lack of the AIs actually playing the game, still a limitation in here. But for the fact that it was able to create this fairly quickly is a win for me. I think, you know, a couple more prompts backwards and forwards and you would have an actual full working game.